Hey guys, so we're back. I'm gonna do a spoiler-free review of Such a Pretty Smile by Christy DeMeester. I got this arc a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it's probably about a month ago. Um, from St. Martin's Press. I was supposed to get this review done before it came out. It came out on the 18th, but I got a little sick, had a migraine for like 3 days, so I missed my deadline. So we're doing it now. I'm sorry it's a little late. But we'll do this as a spoiler-free review so you don't really get spoiled. It's only a couple days late. So bear with me and let's get this done. Thanks for watching my channel and following me, and let's do this. Such a Pretty Smile is a complex horror thriller. Runs off of two different timelines. There is a timeline in the past with the mother, and there is a timeline in the present with the mother and the teenage daughter. This is not a spoiler. This is information that's actually on the actual blurb and on Goodreads, so nothing spoiler about that at all. I found the two timelines very easy to follow. She actually labels them in the chapters, tells you what they are. They didn't have any kind of problem kind of following them or anything like that. It was super simple. They were clear and precise. Didn't get muddled or jumbled up. It was super easy to keep up with. She did a good job with keeping it up and made it easy to know where everything was at and who was talking and who we were following and where it all played in parts. The horror element in this book is super effective. At times it made my skin crawl. Now partly that's my fault. I made the mistake of reading this book every single night before I went to bed in this room with only that light on over there. So reading it in the dark probably wasn't very smart, but it's very, very, very effective. It is a horror thriller suspense and has many, many elements that are gory at times and creepy and kind of makes you feel like there's somebody watching you. Now, I don't know if some of that feeling comes from me while reading it in the bed at night with the lights, almost all the lights off, or if it's just the book itself. I'm not 100% sure which one it is. But it definitely did what it needed to do. It made me feel uneasy. It made me feel kind of dreadful at times. It made me kind of want to look over my shoulder when I was reading at times. So it definitely had an effect on me and stuck with me after I got done reading it every night. Didn't have nightmares or anything like that, but definitely made me think twice about wanting to turn the light off for a little bit. Want to check under the bed. Just kidding. Didn't really want to do that, but that would have been funny if that really did happen. But yeah, so it definitely was effectful, that's for sure. If there is one thing Christy did, it is made me obsessed with this book. I did not want to put it down. I found it lingered in my mind. It almost played like background noise in my head when I was working or just doing mundane everyday things like doing the dishes, going grocery shopping, things like that. I would find that scenarios from the book or parts that I'd read or even like sentences would just pop into my head suddenly and just start replaying in my head on its own. Like I wouldn't even be trying to think about it. It would just be there. So for me personally, I think that's definitely a good reference for a good book is when that kind of thing happens. It's because like if that gets stuck in your head, almost like a little worm, like digging in there. Like if that gets stuck in your head like that, then that's got to be a good sign of a good story because that's pretty good. Along with that prior situation with it getting like background noise in situations, I did find like characters almost like they hitchhiked my mind. I found that I would catch myself over analyzing lots of parts of the book. I would constantly sit there and want to try and like pick it apart and figure things out. I never figured most things out. I'm not gonna lie. I was constantly trying to figure out like what was happening, why things were happening. I tried to get 3 steps ahead of her. It never happened. I didn't figure out anything before the end of the book. She kept me on my toes the whole entire time. I was surprised the entire time. So it's definitely always a good chance when you have a horror book that keeps you on your toes through the very entire novel and you never figure it out. It's always a good sign. One horror element in this book, and this is not a spoiler because it is in the actual blurb, I think it's actually a quote from another person who read it, is the male character's interaction with the female, the misogyny. It's very sick and twisted. It's very, it kind of makes your skin crawl. It's unexpected. You would think in this day and age, and even in that day and age in the book, that wouldn't be something that women would have to deal with, but it is. It's there. It's kind of visceral, if I'm being honest. It's a little unsettling. And it makes, I don't know, as a reader, it kind of, being a female reader at that, it made my skin crawl. It made me feel kind of dirty reading it in a way, because it was like, it just felt like it was wrong and it shouldn't be happening. But it felt in a way too, at the same time, being a horror novel and reading it, it felt right because it made the horror novel that much more effective. I'm not going to say more than that because you need to read it to understand what I'm talking about. And it makes the payoff that much bigger. The main character, or one of the main characters, starts to have little vicious moments in the book, like all teenagers do. Teenagers lash out, they get angsty, and they get vicious. And she does that. She gets vicious and angsty, and that's not really a spoiler. It's just who she is. She's a teenager. I found myself rooting for her because who doesn't like to see a teenager lash out? And the more and more she did it, the more and more I rooted for her, because I don't know, I kind of like a female character who's been pushed down, getting back and fighting back. And I kind of felt like she was kind of doing that without giving anything away. She definitely gets hers, and I feel like it's horrible and it's vicious and it's ugly, but it's kind of beautiful at the same time. I guess in a way it's it's kind of like a train where you can't look away. You want to look, but you can't look away. It's kind of like that. But yeah, I did find myself rooting for her and really being behind her 100%. This entire book is very, very visceral and vicious and gory and horrifying and terrifying and bloody and disgusting and wonderful, but it's beautiful. And I know that sounds weird and strange coming from me, because you're like, what in the world did you read? But you just got to read it for yourself. But it's weird because it's like one of those things where it's like, it's horrifying and terrifying, gross and horrible and beautiful all at the same time. Kind of like a Venus flytrap. You see a Venus flytrap, it's a beautiful plant, fly lands in, it eats it. So that's the horrifying part, but you can't look away. It's kind of like that. It's very much a horrifying beauty. It's terrifying, you shouldn't look at it, it shouldn't be happening, but it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and you just got to see it. You got to read it. You got to be there. It's just amazing. This book, Such a Pretty Smile, is very much beautiful and deadly. And looks can be deceiving. That is the best thing I can tell you about this book. It looks beautiful on the outside with the pretty red face girl. But on the inside, it's terrifying and beautiful and gory and ugly and gorgeous and wonderful. You just got to check it out. But I'd like to take this time to say a special thank you to St. Martin's Press and Christy for sending me this ARC and giving me the opportunity to read this book in advance. I cannot tell you how much of a pleasure and honor and a privilege it was to have the opportunity to read this. I haven't had a book stick with me like this book has. And this book has really made an impact on me, and I haven't really, it's been over a week since I read this thing, and it's still stuck in my head. So who knows how long it's going to be stuck up in there. But really, like, thank you so much. It has been like truly an honor to have the opportunity to read this. I do believe this is probably I think Christie's big novel with a big publishing house. I think she's actually published other stuff prior to this, but I think this is her first like big novel with a publishing house, a big name publishing house. So Christie, for your debut, big thumbs up. You did amazing. From me, Better Off Red, Brandy, I definitely give you 5 well-deserved stars. Honestly, I think you need like 10 because this thing's amazing. Everybody needs to go pick this thing up and read it. If you love horror, if you love thrillers, if you love psychological, any of that kind of stuff, you need to read this thing. It's amazing. You will not be disappointed. I'm Brandy with Better Off Red. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Leave comments below. Check the book out. Let me know what you think about the book. Let me know what you think of the review. Let me know what you want to see on the channel. I'm always open for suggestions. Let me know what you think of the review. This is my first review ever done on video. It's been weird and uncomfortable and unusual and kind of nerve-wracking. So thanks for bearing with me. This was a first. Hopefully they'll get better. It's been a little awkward. Sorry. But thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you come back. See you next time. Bye.